Not particularly.
Would Lamb of God be a band you typically listen to?
No, not really. No.
Not really. Okay.
Thank you though.
That's fair
I'll
enough.
have to look it up.
Hello Loam Wolf Pack, thank you so much for tuning in to loamwolf.com. Beside me I have an absolute legend of the sport, Tracy Moseley, and earlier on we pitched the opportunity for you guys to ask some questions to her, so we're going to go ahead and get the answers to those. First of all, we've been doing the Bosch e-mountain bike challenge today here at the Tweedale Festival in Peebles in Scotland. How's your day been?
Really good fun actually. Yeah, it's definitely, it's a fun kind of event. It's, you know, it's up and downhill. So I felt like we spent a fair bit of time in the Hurt Locker, even with e-bikes, pedaling up hills, some techie ones, some long ones, and some really fun descents. So yeah, a really good mix. It's a nice kind of casual, not too competitive, fun day out on the bikes. Yeah, well I've been racing here since I was 18 years old and I'm now a few years older than that. So I've loved kind of coming to see the evolution of the whole trail system here. And just today out in Glentress there was hundreds of people, you know, taking part in the e-bike, normal bikes, kids on skills trails. Such a cool place for anyone to come and kind of ride. You'll find a trail that suits you for sure.
Definitely, I think if you're in Scotland around the time of Tweedale, it's definitely worth a visit. It's awesome to see everyone having fun on their bikes.
Yeah.
A pretty interesting one, I think. First up, what's been your favourite era of mountain biking so far?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I guess I'll go with my first thought was the beginning of the EWS, the Enduro World Series, 2013 and 2014 years, I guess. Those first 2 years, for me, were the most amazing time. It was James, my now husband, myself, camper van, travelling around, racing them. Awesome. Without any like pressure, expectation. It was a whole new series. No one really knew kind of what to expect. And it was just like a first to so many new places to ride as well. It was that kind of transition from downhill to enduro where I spent hours riding my bike day in, day out on the best trails ever. Yeah. And I've got such fond memories of those first 2 years of EWS. It was pretty cool. And
from what I gather, you did fairly well back then.
Amazingly well. That was 2013 was such a surprise because there was no one had done Enduro World Series before. So there was cross-country guys, downhill guys, maybe some enduro specialists. It was like, who is going to kind of end up being the best at this kind of format? So, yeah.
Well, you.
I guess I was. It was cool.
So you raced EWS for how long?
I did 3 years basically, and then I did a couple in the following year, I think. But yeah, at that point, when I started EWS, I was already retired from downhill, and I was already in my mid 30s. So I was kind of thinking it was time to start maybe wanting to have a family, thinking about that, settling down. So I did those first 3 years, and that was incredible.
And then a few years after that, the little guy came along.
Yep.
How have you been finding that, balancing the kind of career around that?
Juggling lots of hats is hard, but it's also been cool to be able to kind of involve him in our travels, see him take his first steps on a balance bike and now a pedal bike, and be able to like start doing bike rides with him is really quite cool. Yeah. So yeah, looking forward to what the future holds. Family life's pretty cool.
Awesome. And do you think the future holds a future world champion?
Who knows? If he wants to, great, but I just want to make sure he loves the outdoor space, whether it's bikes, boats, running, hiking. I honestly really don't care. I just want him to be a nice human that enjoys being outside.
So far on the little bike I saw him ripping around on earlier, it looks like he might have inherited some of your skills.
He definitely enjoys riding his bike.
He's pretty comfortable on it already, doesn't he? Awesome. And so you raced the regular EWS. More recently, you're into the EWS E.
Yes.
How did that come about?
I think it was that whole opportunity of, I feel like I've been around at the beginning of EWS. It kind of felt like I've already been riding some e-bikes for Trek kind of in those first early years, and I thought, well, why not? Like, I'm never going to get a chance to come back and race the EWS normally. I'm not getting a chance to train. That's not ever been my goal to kind of try and return, but it was almost like I still have that competitive desire. I still like to ride my bike and race, and I love that kind of pressure of the clock ticking. So it was like something I knew I could do. Trek were really quite keen, Bosch were really quite keen to kind of have people involved and start helping steer the beginning of a new discipline. So I've done a few of those, not taking it massively seriously, not done a whole series really, but just been dipping in when I can. And it's been cool just to be able to do it myself, see what the races are at, feedback to the organisers, and try and, I think we're all learning, we still haven't quite worked out what is the best format for e-bike racing yet, but it's certainly making shapes and moving in the right direction. It's been cool to be involved in that.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like it's coming along. Are you directly involved with EWS?
A little bit. So I'm on the advisory board for the e-bike Series as one of the riders, working with Bosch to try and help feedback some of that stuff, and just trying to get input from the riders and racers and try and make it as inclusive and as good as we can. At the moment, I think it's still got ways to go in terms of bikes are changing, batteries are evolving. There's so much stuff that's happening. I still think we haven't quite got that perfect format yet, but you only do that. EWS took a few years to kind of find its rhythm and find its niche. So yeah, it's just fun for me to still be involved, and I still love that feeling of trying to go as fast as I can, even though I'm not as well prepared these days as I was.
And do you reckon you have more fun on the E than you do the regular racing?
In certain ways, yes. In certain ways, no. I think the most exciting thing for me was that new challenge of the climbing. In a way, felt like something new. It was like a new technical challenge, trying to get up stuff. It was like a bit trialsy, a bit of something I've never done before. So that's the aspect I really enjoy, is that challenging myself to see what I can do technically uphill. Yeah. The downs, it's just different for me. I find the bike's heavier, that kind of 25k an hour cut off. Often you can feel that when you're on a trail where you kind of want to go a bit faster than that. It sometimes feels a little bit kind of trickier to manage, I think, on the e-bike. So yeah, it doesn't replace my normal bike, that's for sure. It's just another fun way of riding bikes, and that's how it'll always be for me. It's definitely it's not going to take over. It's just an addition, and it has its great uses at good times.
Brilliant. And what's your involvement with Bosch? What are you doing for them at the moment?
So I've been a Bosch ambassador for a few years now, and obviously them being involved with the races, like I said, trying to be on the advisory board to make sure that how the e-bike race is progressing is something that they kind of want to see. Bosch is a really kind of a professional. It's a very German company. They definitely have kind of rules and how they want to be viewed, and I think they don't, having bikes that are chipped is definitely something that would never be something that they would allow or want to see happen. Yeah. Trying to ride them in a way that is nice to the environment, is nice to other users of the trail. So just being a good ambassador for e-biking. I think it's really easy for e-bikes to kind of get that, or you're one of those e-bikers that just comes past me, doesn't say hi, and you rip up the trails. And no, I'm not that e-biker, and I want e-bikes to be seen in the light that you can actually be a really nice, respectful human and still enjoy what an e-bike can give you. So that's probably one of the things I really want to make sure that I can try and help create that message and make sure people who do ride them, have fun, but they're also respectful for others.
And do you think that sort of bad rep that e-bikers maybe have is holding back the sport at all, or do you think it's doing just fine without it in that sense? It's just. I
think people are always going to find something to complain about. There's always going to be people that are idiots on bikes, whether it's an e-bike or not an e-bike. There's always people that are going to be responsible in their usage of their trails and how they dig stuff illegally. We're never going to have this perfect world. I think e-bikes have got a really exciting, great future, and it's still on a good track for that.
Yeah. Where's been the favourite place that your bike's taken you to?
I think I'm just a Swiss Alp lover. Alps particularly, but certainly Swiss ones. I think just that tiny ribbons of kind of animal tracks that you find, and the technical challenge sometimes of it's not made for bikes, so therefore getting up rocky steps and getting around hairpin corners, hopping around, a bit trialsy. That's the kind of stuff that I love, and being somewhere amazing with those kind of views, the silence, the emptiness, the landscape, the nature, just awesome. Where the bike can take you. I think that's always been one of my favourites, the mountains.
Yeah, it is good up there. Yeah. One of our audience was asking, what tyre pressures do you run? Which I guess
it's dependent, isn't it? Lots of variables there, depending on what casing tyre it is, what the terrain's like, what the weather's like.
But what were you running today?
I was running 19 in the front, 19 psi in the front, and 24 in the rear. I always generally run more in the rear, and sometimes quite a substantial difference, just because I like to roll fast, and I don't want to puncture in some ways. So a bit more grip on the front. So yeah, around that ballpark's never far off, I would say.
What would be in your pre-race playlist?
See, that's one thing that I'm pretty rubbish at is I'm really I don't have a particular playlist. I don't really listen to loads of music other than background music, what's on the radio. I really have a really open mind with music. So I've never really had anything. I guess when I was racing downhill, I did have a little bit of some music that probably would get me going, but that was so long ago that now with enduro, I'm just, I kind of sometimes enjoy having nothing going on inside my head, to be honest. I think with having a little one, having lots of stuff going on with work and life, my bike riding time now is my complete switch off peace time, and it's like I like to be able to kind of listen to what's going on around me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty dull on the music front, sadly.
Fair enough. How would you get in the zone then? Or do you not need it? Is it just within you?
Yeah, I've never really been. I mean, I generally, as soon as the beep goes and I'm on the racetrack, that's me focused.
Everything else goes away.
I tend to, if I was to spend the whole time like revving myself up, I'd probably crash in the first corner. So I always tended to be more of like just have fun, chat with people, like relax a little bit before the start, and then just go for it.
Awesome. What are your plans for next year?
Good question. Hopefully it will involve riding bikes still. Some good time. Toby's started school, so there's going to be some routine in life there that I've not had since I left school, in terms of holidays, weekends and school holidays. But yeah, I'm definitely haven't got huge major plans. I still hope to be working with Trek and Bosch, certainly.
Yep.
I'm trying to take a little bit of a step back from quite so much involvement with the Trek race teams, just to give myself a bit of a breathing space. Still really want to help develop young athletes. And settle into kind of school, mum life, and getting involved in that a little bit in some ways.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to ride with you and chat with you.
Likewise, thanks.
And look forward to seeing what comes from you in the future.
Great, thank you.
If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment, let us know your favourite maybe memory of Tracy Moseley if you've met with her or ridden with her before, and subscribe to the channel to see more awesome content with more legends of the sport like this. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Hope to catch you out on the trails.